Metaphor. Metaphor is a literary device and it is used in literature part, especially in poems. So to understand poems correctly and deeply, we need to understand what is metaphor actually. Then we can understand poems. Otherwise we can go for literal meanings, which is not real interpretation, which is not correct interpretation of the poem. To understand any poem or any literary work, we need to understand literary devices, and metaphor is one of them. So we start metaphor. What is metaphor, how it is used and manipulated in the poems to express the thoughts and feelings of the poets. So to understand metaphor deeply, I have taken this example, a poem, Hope is the Thing with Feathers, written by Emily Dickinson. In this poem, just look at first stanza. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tone without the words and never stops at all. Now look at the first line. Hope is a thing with feathers. Here Emily Dickinson has put some similarities between hope and feathers. Hope is for human beings, feathers are for birds. Feathers are wings. Feathers make birds fly, same as hope make human beings fly. To keep positive attitude in life, hope is important. So hope can make human beings fly, same as feathers make birds fly. So this way, metaphor and other literary devices are used by writers, by poets, to express their deep thoughts. So they can express their deep ideas, complex ideas and rich ideas with the help of literary devices. These kind of ideas are not possible with the help of literal meanings and with the help of ordinary language. So that's why they use literary devices. In other words, we can say that writers put similarities between two dissimilar things. They show similar characteristics, or they just add similar characteristics between two objects, ideas and things, so that they can justify their point. They can just express themselves successfully, and they can interpret their deep thoughts and emotions. So on the discussion of metaphor, we can just make one simple definition of metaphor. That is, metaphor shows similarities or adds similar characteristics between two objects, persons or conditions, and these two objects, persons or conditions can be dissimilar. So metaphor puts similarities. Now look at this example. There is a tire in the affairs of men, which taken at full leads on to fortune. Here William Shakespeare has used some nautical, or we can say regarding sea, some nautical terms or regarding sea, like flood, tired. So in this example, in these lines, William Shakespeare expressing the condition of human beings. William Shakespeare just want to express the conditions, the problems of a normal human being. So he is using nautical or regarding sea, some words regarding sea or nautical terms, we can say. So this way William Shakespeare is expressing his thoughts just with the help of other objects, with the help of other conditions, and we call it metaphor. And he is putting similarity between nautical terms and human beings. Now I am going to discuss why literary devices are used, why it is needed for writers to use literary devices, why they cannot express themselves in normal language, in ordinary language. And if I talk about metaphor, first of all, you will have to keep in mind metaphor is a literary device. Literary device, it is widely used in poems and plays. Second thing, metaphor shows similarity between two things, events and objects. Next one, metaphor and other literary devices are used just to enrich the meanings of literary work. Whenever the poets use metaphors or other literary devices, they enrich the normal language, they enrich the meanings of their literary work. Next one, metaphor gives voice to unspeakable thoughts and feelings. Metaphor and other literary devices, we can say, give voice to unspeakable thoughts and feelings. There are some thoughts and feelings we cannot express in literal meanings, with the help of literal meanings and in ordinary language. Just that time we need these kind of devices, so someone can express his mind. Next point is that whenever metaphor is used, it adds depth to particular topics. Mean to say, writers can express their thoughts in depth when they use these kind of metaphors, and they just don't write for literal meanings, they write for metaphorical meanings, so that the readers can imagine, so readers can enter the mind of poets and they can understand that particular topic well. Next one, whenever metaphor is used, it is an interaction of two objects, and whenever two objects or ideas interact with each other, they create a unique meaning. With the help of metaphor, two objects, when the similarities are shown between two objects, they create a unique meaning to the reader, and they create and adds a unique meaning to a particular topic or written part. Next one, metaphor affects the ways we perceive and conceive the world. Here, why it is written here, because if we don't know what metaphorical meanings, when we can take things in a wrong way, we cannot understand the world in a better way, because we do not understand the metaphorical meanings, so we can understand the written part in a wrong way, and we can perceive and conceive the world in a wrong way. So the metaphorical meaning of the written part and about the world is important, so we can create some similarities between two objects, and it is always needed when we want to understand some particular thing, then we have to compare it with other things. So if we can create similarities, if we can just create unique meanings, and we can compare one thing with another, and we create unique meanings, that way we can understand the world well. So this was about metaphor. I hope you got this idea about metaphor. Thank you for watching it.